Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Kit Car Talk with Street Rod Jim. And if you all remember, I used to say, welcome everybody to the channel about kit cars and other car topics. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the notification bell below. And share with others on social media. It's taken me a while to get back into it. So for a while I haven't really said that stuff because if you're going to subscribe, you're going to subscribe, even though I want you to, but it is what it is. So that brings me to the big announcement here, and we have officially hit 10,000 subscribers, which is I think we would have hit a lot sooner if I was getting more done on the car, but it's been a little bit of a slow process. Partly because I've been learning a lot, and there's really no manual for body work with the Factory 5 stuff. Like, they give you kind of the nuts and bolts to get stuff on the car, but that's about it. And so it's been kind of a painstaking process to get that through. But I think once we get the car kind of worked on, get the body work finished, and start painting and stuff like that, there's going to be plenty more stuff to post. So I wanted to kind of give you an update where everything's going, and I also wanted to let you know that when I originally started this channel, not only did I want to document the car and make the channel, but 10,000 subscribers was actually my goal. Like, let me get to 10,000 subscribers, and then let's see where this goes from there. I'll make decisions from that point. Because I will say, it is a crap load of work. I spend more time editing and doing videos than I do working on the car. And not to say I'm not working on the car, it's just that, I would spend, let's say, one weekend working on a bunch of stuff, building the car, and then it would literally take like 3 hours, 4 nights in a row to like edit the videos just to have them ready for like the next weekend type of thing. And so it does add a lot of time where, I would have been done with this car a long time ago if I wasn't doing the channel. So it does mean a lot to me if you do subscribe, and just helps out with the channel and keep the momentum going. But we'll see. We'll see where the channel goes from here. Obviously, I have other projects on the table. The first one being the van. The van, I think, is going to be a quicker project because I'm just disassembling and putting it back together. And then, from there, will I do an F9R or something like that? Or will I sit there and go, you know what? I'm tired of building cars. I'm just going to buy a Lamborghini or buy a C8 Corvette or something like that. I have no idea. Because I will say, I was expecting, of course, we hit the whole, world changes and stuff, but I was expecting a little bit more a group of people helping me out instead of like the isolation that the world has pushed upon us these days. So, of course, things are getting better, but is what it is. So the good news is I've talked to Greg, who has been my mentor and the person that's going to help me paint the car. And, for months I would be like, all right, well, I think it's time for you to take over. And he'd be like, yeah, just work on this and get back to me. And I'd be like, oh man. And I totally appreciate that he was like kind of forcing me to do more, forcing me to learn more, and not just like kind of give up and just hand it over. But when we got into the hood issue, that's where I did try the third time to get into it. But I was just like, no, this is where I stop. And he agreed. He was like, yeah, he goes, this is going to take a lot to finagle this in. And it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering right, that the standard hood mold seems to be pretty decent. It's the the extended hood that doesn't work well, or there's something wrong with the cowl area of my body. I don't know, whichever it is. It's one of those things that I don't know, and the car is so far built at this point that whatever, it just needs to get done. So I don't really care what it was, or if I find out exactly what it was, then I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure it's the hood for the extended hood is just not up to par. So Greg's a really busy guy, and so I did finally have a meeting with him, and we're scheduled for about, I want to say about 6 weeks out, to where I'm just going to drop the car off and he's just going to go to town like full time and work on it. Now, I'm sensitive to people have made comments on the channel saying that, hey, I really appreciate that you're showing body work on the channel, because a lot of times everybody builds the car and then all of a sudden magically the car's finished and we didn't get to see that process of it. And so I have to, of course, get authorization from Greg, but I would like to put like a time-lapse camera permanently in his garage. So even if we're not getting like, perfect full footage, we're getting something that shows the process of what it took to get there. And then of course I'll comment on it and get as much information to, I'd like to be part of that process too. I just, my schedule gets kind of crazy with clients, and so does he. So what that looks like, I don't really know, but worst case scenario, I get, a time lapse in there and he's working on it every day and I show up in the mornings and help out, or, get away, kid. let the pros do this. And he just, works on that side of it until the panels come off the car. And then once the panels come off the car, then I think I'll be more involved, doing some final sanding, helping out with paint, things like that. So, and I don't know when and where and how this looks, but once the panels are off the car doesn't need to stay at his place anymore. At that point, it could come back to me, and then I could do a lot of work, rewire, all the insulation, lizard skin, heat type stuff, basically build the car, get the air conditioning going. I want to replace one of my fuel hoses because it's been rubbing against the body. So I got to trim the body a little bit more, which that's all stuff I'm not going to do until it's off the car, because I don't want to just spray fiberglass all over inside my, my fuse panels and things like that, where, that could just cause havoc getting stuff in the connections and things. So there is a lot of work to actually be done once we get those panels off the car. And so at this moment, people have been saying, well, one of the comments was like, life has gotten in the way. And it's like, it's kind of true and somewhat true in a sense that, I don't talk a lot about it, but on the channel, I've mentioned that I do have like severe, back issues and neck issues and things like that. And, the rest of the world has been like, man, you shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. And I'm kind of like, you know what? I need to live my life. And, I can't lift real heavy things and I can't do certain things, but I make sacrifices to have some kind of quality of life. And so one of the reasons that you haven't seen me take the car apart and do all the lizard skin and all that stuff at this moment is the first thing we need to do bodywork wise is have all the panels aligned perfectly in the car, so you could see if there's a little dip and it needs to be filled in or whatever's going on. And if I'm 5 to 6 weeks from that going on, last thing I'm going to do is take the whole car apart and then supposedly work on it in the dead of summer in Arizona, which is brutal. And then, have the ability to like get neighbors to come over and to help me put stuff back on because I can't lift it, or, like I can't put the body on myself, stuff like that. For me, it's like, it's not worth the sacrifice that I'm going to physically make to do. And so that's some of the reasons that I don't do certain things in a certain order and stuff like that. Because if I was 20 years old and, strong like an ox, I would just be like ripping stuff apart and not caring and bam, 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 go, go, go. But that's not where I am in my life. And I do have to be cautious about certain things that I'm doing to not aggravate, like blown discs and stuff like that. So, not to get too TMI, but there is reasons for why I do things in a certain order, and I'm very cautious about doing things and always asking for help if I need to, so I don't have flare-ups and things like that. So I'm really excited about, dropping this car off and getting into this process, because even for myself, I've gotten to that point where I expected this car to be done literally like last December. And here we are, pushing up towards the end of the year, like the beginning of this year is just like sped by super quick. And it's kind of funny because, the older you get, like time just goes faster and faster and faster. And I've been philosophizing about that a lot. Like, why is that? What is the reason for this happening? And I found this video the other day where this guy was, proposing that it's due to our sense of time. And what was really interesting is he went up to like 20-year-olds and he said, I want you to go ahead and tell me when you think a minute is done. You ready? And he had like a stopwatch on his phone. He's like, all right, go. And then they would be like, yep, minute's done. And he'd be like, perfect. And they were all within like 3 to 5 seconds, someone would say 59 seconds and, or, a minute and 5 or whatever. But when he went to older people like 50 and over and asked the same question, sometimes they were off by 45 seconds. Like what they thought was a minute and 45 seconds. And that might explain this whole kind of thing of, wow, like 6 months went by like it was a month, the older you get and things are going by quickly. So for me, it's been kind of frustrating because, 2/3 of my garage is like tied up with parts everywhere and stuff everywhere. And all I want to do is like start working on the van and just like get this done and go live life a little bit, and have fun. Instead of always been in this, oh man, I got to get this done. And geez, I have no videos for my channel. And, like there's all this, like I put pressure on myself. So there's no one that wants this more done than myself. And, I'm definitely going to push the hardest I can to make sure that we're finished this year and this car's happening. Now, that being said, when I do show the final version of the car, I kind of have a little, what I'll call a surprise or, I don't know, it's going to come out of left field for people. They're going to be like, whoa, what is that? But I'm working on something. I'm working on something really cool. And it's very creative, and I think it'll be really awesome when you get to see it. So I'm just putting a little nugget out there, a little carrot, for people to hang with me till the end of this thing. So that'll be kind of cool, and I'm excited about it. And it's going to take me about 6 months to work on this project for this final reveal. And I've already started the process, and so hopefully you guys enjoy that when it happens. So can't tell you what it is, but I'll explain more after the fact. So in any case, today I'm going out for a drive, and also you're probably going, hey, we're not in the garage. I used to do all my videos from here because a lot of it was research and things like that. And now that, the car's mostly done, and it's like 80 to 100 degrees in the garage, with humidity, I'm in the air conditioning, and so I'm in the office. So I'm actually enjoying being in here, and it's nice and feels great. So, but the one thing I wanted to say was I'm going to go out for a drive, and I'm going to film the whole thing. And for people that are interested in working with an LS engine in their car, this is a great video because, and I'm not doing anything crazy or whatever, but it gives you an idea of just how this thing operates, how it runs. I'm also using the Terminator X Max. So I got the LS, it's a 6.0, but it's 30 over, so it's almost a 6.2, which is like 370 cc's. I got the hot rod cam in it, and then I'm using the Terminator X system, which was tuned on the street, not on a dyno, which I preferred. And the great thing about it is it's controlling your trans also, so you could adjust how that thing operates. Like you could make the trans drive like a grandma, or you could make it like a race machine. You could do anything in between. And so what I try to do is make it really smooth when I'm on the road. And the car has so much power. I mean, you barely touch the gas and you're just flying. I mean, a lot of times you see me take off from a light, you'll be like, "Wah!" And that's it. And like, I'm already past the speed limit. Like it's in 1 second, I'm at 60 and I'm in a 45, so that just shows you, how, with such a light car and such an amazing engine, you don't need a lot of power. I mean, if you had 350 horsepower in this car, that would be plenty. I have around 450 horsepower. That's a total guesstimate, but a pretty accurate guesstimate. And it's a beast, you know. And can I see, you know, 600 or 800 horsepower in this car? I can, for someone that like really wants to be just ripping at all times. Like when I went to go do the tune and the guy kept pushing me to do stuff and burn the tires and do all that. Like after a day of that, it's like, okay, I'm getting acclimated. I'm getting used to this. And yeah, I could see how someone might want a few extra 100 horsepower if this is what they're doing all day long. But I haven't done that since that day. And it's been, you know, whatever, 8 months, a year, whatever. And the car's just, I mean, to me, I don't want to say overpowered, but yeah, overpowered, you know, in a sense. And, you know, 350 horsepower would be totally fine in this car and get your rocks off, basically. So the thing that on my channel, I also had a C5 for a while, and there was a few reasons that I bought the C5. One was I was looking at C5s because my original idea was to build a GTM. And the way you build a GTM is you buy a C5 and you take it apart. Well, out of all that research and becoming kind of, I don't want to say an expert, but, you know, really decent at what to look for in a C5, I found this amazing anniversary model, like an actual anniversary model, with the special, you know, red tri-coat tint and the whole, you know, special everything. And it was such a great price that I had to get it. And when I did that, there was no way I was going to take that car apart. It wasn't for the GTM. It was just, now that I have all this knowledge about C5s, this is a steal, let me get this. And so when I did and restored it a little bit, there was a great thing that came out of it. It had an LS engine, and it had a 4L 65 transmission, which is what I have in my car. So this was a total precursor to understand what my car is going to feel like, sound like, be like. Of course, you know, GM CPU in it, so it was perfectly, you know, made up to do what it needs to do best. And that was amazing. So for the people that, you know, don't have access to a C5 or have never had an LS engine and are interested in what an LS engine is, I stand behind the LS engine for this car 100%. I think it's a no-brainer. It's fuel efficient. It putts like a Cadillac when you need it to, and it becomes a monster as soon as you put the pedal down. And it's both. It's not just at all times and just crazy. It's anywhere in between. And so I just love that aspect about the engine. And I think you'll get that feeling watching this this drive. And of course the scenery. I live in this mountainous area, and it's just beautiful. And when the sunlight comes out, it's just amazing. And I did this video in 4K specifically so you guys could just really, you know, see the beautiful area that I live in and hear this amazing engine and what it does. So 10,000 subscribers, awesome. And, you know, keep sharing the videos and letting people know. And if you haven't subscribed and you've been watching this whole time, all you have to do is, you know, log into your Google account and hit the subscribe button, and you're good to go, and it helps me out. So appreciate everything, and have fun watching the video.